Yo, welcome back, people. We got another stream for you, and today we're going to be speaking all things Jude Bellingham, man. It's going to be an absolute madness. You know, this transfer rumour is just going to keep on picking up and It's like a snowball. You know when you get like a snowball, right? You're making a snowman, and like you put the snowball on the snow, and then you push the ball around the snow, yeah? And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That is this transfer rumour. Right now, we're kind of like early stages. The ball ain't too big. I'm thinking maybe like this size, this size. But quickly as the mass of the snowball gets bigger and bigger, the speed in which it accumulates more and more mass via the snow on the ground just gets massive, bro. And this is a massive transfer. As always, bro, I'm joined here by the one and only Hugh Murray. Hugh, how you doing, man? He was ill yesterday. People was in the chat and was like, "Where's Hugh gone?"
Yeah, your boys had a bit of a flu for the last few days, but I saw the Jude news, and I had to get out of bed and stop feeling sorry for myself and get chatting about this snowball that LB keeps talking about. He's obsessed with snow in the last few days. I don't know what's going on, but listen, sources close to Hugh have said the base of the snowman has been put in place. The ball's a bit bigger than you think, right? So get your gloves, get your mittens, get your scarves, get your hats, because we're going to have a snow fight very soon.
There we go. Big up to everyone in the chat. Hopefully you're all doing well, man. Please make sure you drop a like on the stream. We're 8 likes away from 100 likes. We've got over 200 people in here right now for this early morning stream. So get that like smashed. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. And big up all our Xtra Club members. You guys can become an Xtra Club member as well by hitting the link in the description or the one that's in the pinned comment, guys. So get it smashed, become an Xtra Club member and help support the channel grow. Right. Let's get into this. Jude Bellingham. Now, we spoke the other day. David Ornstein, very, very, very good source when it comes to transfers. And he said Liverpool are no longer favourites. I've been listening to Fabrizio Romano to see what he said. And what he said recently is that Liverpool are not out of this race for Jude Bellingham right now. They're not out of this race. However, there's a couple of things that are causing a bit of an issue for Liverpool in this transfer race. One is the fact that their owners are they actually willing to put in the £125 million minimum? Because that's, for me, that's a minimum fee. I don't think you'll get it for anything less than that. And the Champions League could be a bit of an issue for Liverpool trying to acquire the services of Jude Bellingham. Would he go to Liverpool if they're not in the Champions League? When he could go to Real Madrid or Manchester City, probably could go PSG as well, all playing Champions League football, and are all in the squad health is all better than Liverpool right now. I think that's fair to say. I don't think Liverpool fans would disagree with that. Manchester City are in talks with Jude Bellingham's father. They've spoken to him previously and are in talks with him again about this situation. And I'm sure that'll be the same for Real Madrid, for Liverpool, for PSG, and maybe United. United have had some rumours as well. But that's kind of where we're at with the Jude Bellingham situation. Manchester City are in talks with Jude Bellingham. Liverpool are not out of this transfer race. However, it's looking okay for City right now. This is probably the most confident I've been for Manchester City side of Jude Bellingham in a long time, man.
Yeah, I've been in bed the last few days feeling sorry for myself. I've thought about this. You know, it's a bit weird that I've thought so much about Bellingham while I wasn't here, but I have done, and I've thought about what are the realities in this situation, and how does it look optics wise? And I came to a very biased Manchester City conclusion that Liverpool are not as much in the race as we are led to believe. And I'll explain to you my theory why. I don't think they are in the race as much as we are led to believe. Mm-hmm. I think that piece of news that David Ornstein dropped the other day is very true, and I think that is the first little signal that Liverpool will not get Jude Bellingham. And the reason they won't just come out and say, no, you know what, we can't go for Jude Bellingham, we can't compete financially. The reason they can't be fully honest is because did you see the meltdown from their fans from just that little piece of news? Their fans were almost ready to burn the stadium down. They were like, we put off buying a midfielder last summer. We've been waiting 2 years. Jude was the pinnacle. Jude is what we've been working towards. And you don't go and get Jude Bellingham. This is an absolute embarrassment. You see that? They can't just come out and say that. So they have to look like they're still in the race for as much or for as long as possible. They have to look like they're competing for Jude and they're doing all they can to get Jude for as long as possible. The only club to have officially spoken to Jude Bellingham's dad, who is, of course, his agent up until now, until Romano dropped this, was Liverpool. So the fact that Bellingham's dad is now talking to Manchester City is obviously big for us. The way I look at it is, I from a biased perspective, like I said, I think we will get him. But just as we announced Jude Bellingham, Liverpool will announce someone like Mason Mount, or they'll announce another midfielder to try and keep their fans sweet. But if Jude doesn't go to Liverpool, expect an absolute anarchy to break out at Anfield, because they have been told, or they've at least been led to believe, that this guy is what they're getting. This is the pinnacle of what their midfield is going to be. So I think they're drip feeding it into the media very slowly that Bellingham to Liverpool won't be a thing.
Yeah, you know, it makes perfect sense. And you're right, Liverpool have needed this midfielder for some time, probably 2-3 years now, at least since Wijnaldum left the football club. And yeah, obviously, you know, there's been a Tolmy for the Blue Moon Forum, who I think is a good source, and all the people have different opinions on it, and that's fine. You know, he's saying that it is what it is. You know, he thinks that City have got this deal done, and only Liverpool coming in with £125 million can change that. I don't think they've got £125 million. And if they do have £125 million, that'll be the majority of the transfer budget. And this is something that I'm saying about Liverpool. Though the one thing that I've had hope throughout this situation, even when I've not been that confident about Jude Bellingham, which I've not been that confident about Jude Bellingham throughout the last couple of months. As you guys know, when we've done the timeline streams, I've not been confident on Jude Bellingham. But the one thing that has given me sort of a little bit of hope is that I think Liverpool's squad needs around 200 to 300 million pounds spent on it, right? Genuinely think that to get them back up to where they want to be, yeah, as the best, one of the best teams in Europe, right? I think it needs 200 to 300 million pounds spent on it. They don't have that kind of cash. So say they do have, say, 150. Say they have 150, which is a lot of money, right? I'm talking net spending 150 million, which is a lot of money, and not something that we've really seen Liverpool spend over the last few years. Are they going to spend 90% of that on one player? Because if they get Jude Bellingham in that team, it makes them better. Of course it does. And it probably allows them to challenge for the Premier League. But does it put them back at the level where they were a couple of years ago? I just don't think so. I think they need more. And that's something that I've always thought. Are Liverpool going to go for one player, or will they rather spend their 125, 150 million pound transfer budget on 2 to 3 players? I personally, not just saying this because I want Jude Bellingham, I personally think it would be wiser, Liverpool, to get the 2 or 3 players. I think it would make them a stronger team. Now, of course, Liverpool fans might not want to hear that because they probably want to sign Jude Bellingham, and that's completely understandable. But I think if they just got Jude Bellingham on its own, I just don't think that really puts them, I just don't really see them put them properly back at the top table. It certainly gets them close. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty mad, mate. It's pretty mad. I mean, the news has been popping off. Obviously, we've had McAllister news as well. Have you seen the new McAllister news, bro? See, that looks like something that could be happening, you know.
What's the latest in him since we last spoke?
Just that basically, like, it actually like might be legit, because obviously we know City are linked with Kovacic, but you know that's about 40 million. We're obviously linked with Jude Bellingham as well, but yeah, the McAllister news, mate. There are a lot of sources now saying it could be popping off. I think Tommy again on Blue Moon Forum says keep your eye out on McAllister. You know, keep your eye out on McAllister. It's something that actually could happen, and it's an interesting one, that one, because I'm not a massive fan. I don't know how to describe my view on McAllister without it sounding shit, because I do think he's a good player and I do like him, but I don't know. The money that it's going to cost, I think it's a lot of money for McAllister, but he would be a good fit. I mean, DJ and one there in the chat says McAllister does look a good fit. I agree. I think he would be a good fit, but would you spend like 90 million on him? Because I think that's what it's going to cost.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I saw Asan for the 9320 pod just before we came live. He put up a tweet that I think is actually quite true. He said he reckons this is going to be the biggest spending summer we have had since 2017. If you remember that summer 2017, we signed crazy players. We spent big cash. That was the original summer where everyone like, oh, City are buying the league, City are trying to buy success, and we built a class team that we've been essentially working with the bones of that team since then. But I think there's truth to it. I think you could see City go and spend 2, 3, 400 million this summer, because that's what we have. If that's what we have to do, that's what we'll do to buy quality players. And if we get Bellingham and McAllister, buzzing, I'll absolutely take that. I don't want McAllister to come in and be the main midfield purchase, if you like, to come in and be the Gundo or the Bernardo replacement. I'd prefer that to be Bellingham, but yeah, I can see it happening. I can see it happening if Toby's saying it, or if people are saying there's McAllister truth, maybe. But with the Bellingham one again, I think what you were saying was true. Are Liverpool likely to spend that kind of money on one player? First of all, I think Klopp is a lot smarter than that. I think Klopp is a lot smarter than spending 125, 130 million on one player. If you look at Klopp, how he built his original Liverpool team that challenged us for so many years, they bought a load of players. They bought Van Dijk, they bought Mane, they bought Alisson, they bought a load of players. They built a great team, and that's how they moved forward. It wasn't, they bought 1 or 2, and that was how the team became. Mo Salah, of course, as well. And of course, FSG and ownership, they're not sure if they're here, they're not sure if they're there, they're not sure if they want to sell the club, if they want to sell part of the club, they're not sure if they want to stay completely. Are they likely to go and drop 130 M's on one player for a club that they're not sure if they're going to be a part of in 12, 24 months' time? I don't think so either. It's just a completely less stable situation, which Bellingham is probably looking at, and his father's probably looking at. And Liverpool fans will hold on to the fact that Liverpool's dad apparently has an affiliation or a like for Liverpool. But he's probably looking at them that saying, is this an environment that my son is going to prosper the most in? And if you're even taking my blue hat off here, my blue tinted hat off, and I'm not being biased, you have to say no. You have to say no. So if you're being real, the road's point to Manchester City for me.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. And just going back to the spending thing, I've said this for some time. I've said this for the last couple of weeks, last couple of months. I think this summer's going to be madness. We've made
how much did we spend in 2017? What was the final figure again? Was it 200 and something?
1 sec, I can actually find it out here. But yeah, just while I'm getting that up, the last 2 seasons we've made net profit on our transfers. So we've been making money. We've been making money on our transfers. We've been selling these players. We've been selling academy players, and we've been going ham. In 2016-17, we had a net spend of 180 million. In the season after, we had a net spend of 226 million. And we spent 317 million. We got like, so this was over summer and January. We got Laporte, Mendy, Walker, Bernardo, Ederson, Danilo. Douglas Luiz was also there, of course. That was more of a CFG type signing. But yeah, I mean, I think we're going to spend a lot of money. I think we're going to spend a lot of money this summer because I think we need to. Laporte's gone. You need to sign a centre back. Any decent centre back worth any decent amount of game time is going to be at least 60, 70 million. If you're going for Gvardiol, they've already said they want to make Gvardiol the most expensive centre back in world football. That's 85 million just to get the conversation started. You go and get a midfielder, whether it's McAllister or Jude Bellingham, over 100 million. So that's 180 straight away. If you get both of them, you're close to the 300. You need a left back. Whether he actually gets a left back, if he wants to go to a 3 at the back, he might not get one. But if he does get a left back, again, Chilwell, Theo Hernandez, these type of players, they're all £40 million minimum, probably further up, 50, 60 million. And then in my personal opinion, I think you need a winger as well. And I think a winger, again, probably looking at around 50 million just to get the conversation started there. So, yeah, 100%. I think that Manchester City are going to spend a lot of money this summer. And I would pretty much put a decent amount of cash on it being at least £250 million. At least £250 million. Probably over 300, to be honest with you. 100%.
Yeah, I would think so too. And another reason why I'm pretty confident that what we're saying and that is absolutely true is that I reckon when Pep Guardiola was out in Abu Dhabi negotiating his new contract, I reckon a massive part of that negotiation was how much are you going to allow me to rebuild this summer? Because obviously the team is aging. The team needs massive refreshing if we want to keep challenging to the degree that we have been up to now. The squad needs investment and not just any investment, not just a couple 10, 50 million pound players. It needs top quality players coming in that Pep himself can identify. So I reckon Pep has been assured he's going to have a massive transfer budget this summer to get this team going again, to once again challenge for Premier Leagues and once again hopefully challenge for the Champions League. So yeah, I think we're in for a huge summer. So hold tight because you're going to get it all here as well on City Extra.
Yeah, man. Busy summer. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the stream if you've not done so already. Over 400 people in here right now. Let's get those likes past 200, man. We need 40 people. Hit that thumbs up button, man. Get us past 200 likes. Got a couple super chats and member chats coming in here as well. Big up Nick Cooper with the 5. Says McAllister would bang. Perfect replacement if we're seeing Bernardo plus Gundogan leave. You know what? You're absolutely right, Nick. I think he would do really well. The question for me is he worth 90 million? Because I just struggle to see you get him out of the Brighton for less than 90. Would you pay 90 million for him, bro?
No. And we said this in the stream last week, didn't we? I said I would take McAllister 100%, but for a good price. If City could negotiate with Brighton, maybe give them one or two of our youngsters, because we know Brighton love getting in young players and developing them. If we give them 1 or 2 EDS players and a bit of cash for McAllister, I'd be all up for that. But I don't want McAllister to come in, like I said a few minutes ago, and be the main midfield signing. Like he's going to come in and be our main midfield signing. I think we can do slightly better than that.
Yeah, it's interesting because like Ace FN in the chat says he's 55. Dip Ace says 65 mil. Darcy McAllister's 50 mil. Max says 60 mil. But that's not going to get him out of the club because if you remember, guys, they sold Cucurella for 60 million. They wanted at least 70 million for Caicedo. What they're going to want for a World Cup winner who played in every single game in the World Cup? I think they're going to want at least. All right, let's go down to the lowest. I think they'll want at least 80 million. Now, obviously, you just said EDS player. Kai suggests 50 million, maybe a plus McAtee. Still think you'll need to send them more money than 50 million, but maybe, yeah, if you did like 60 plus McAtee, would they accept that? McAtee, a fantastic player, smashing it for Sheffield United, maybe. But, yeah, it's an interesting one, that one on the transfer fee. Lewis, yes, member for a year. Yes, bro. Thank you very much for the support. Says, thoughts on the possibility of Gavi maybe joining. Love the works, lads. Keep it up. Well, I listened to the recent video from Fabrizio Romano, and he said that he's spoken to sources at Barcelona, and they remain very calm about the situation and believe that they will be able to get this contract registered. He also said something that's interesting, which is beyond the scopes of this video, and maybe someone who's a lawyer might know what the situation going on. But he has already signed the contract, so can he actually leave on a free? Because whilst La Liga haven't registered the player, he has signed the paperwork. He signed the contract, so he technically still has a contract signed with Barcelona. It's just not been accepted by La Liga. So it then becomes, can you actually get him on a free transfer? Because he signed the contract, you know. So that's, again, that sounds one maybe for the solicitors. But I'd love Gavi at Manchester City on a free. I'm sure everyone would. Anthony, yes, with a $2 donation, says, can we spend a $1 billion? That's Australian. So how much is that in Australian?
You know what he means, bro. You know what he means.
That's 500 million. Can we spend 500 million? I don't think we're going to spend 500 million, bro, but we're going to spend a lot of money. I think 300 million is doable. I think 300 million is doable, especially if we get Jude, Bellingham or McAllister, because that's going to take up the bulk of the cash. Gvardiol, again, is going to cost close to 100 million. Just getting them two players is going to cost you pretty much 200. So a winger, a left back, you're well over 300 million. So I think 300 million is more than doable. And finally, big up Hayden, member for 3, says, can you both say Ruben Diaz is the GOAT? Ruben Diaz is the GOAT, Bray.
Ruben Diaz is the GOAT, Bray.
There you go. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the stream. We are 11 likes away from 200. Come on, man, get those likes pressed. So just to summarise, Manchester City still in talks with Jude Bellingham. Fabrizio Romano saying Liverpool are not out of the title race. However, the top 4, and whether or not they have the funds to go and splash on Jude Bellingham is a major issue. We know that City have the cash available. We know that we're ready to spend. We know that City are massive fans of Jude Bellingham, as is Pep Guardiola. Can we get that deal over the line? Out of 10, bro. And in fact, everyone in the chat as well on this one. 10 being 100% he is signing for Manchester City. 0 is like, yeah, the guy's not signing for Manchester City at all. Out of 10, bro. Where are you at, Jude Bellingham to Man City?
It's interesting because I'm hearing a lot of things. I'm hearing a lot of things on my side as well. I speak to a lot of people who feed me a lot of information. I'm not saying I'm ITK, but I trust them. So I'm at a 7.6.
A 7.6.
I am genuine, and I hope people come back to this when it happens because I'm very, very confident.
Yeah, that's pretty high. I mean, if you would have asked me before the David Ornstein news the other day, I would have been like, yo, I'm like at a 3. You know what I mean? Because I was really not that confident. And obviously, Grizz was fucking like, yeah, he definitely coming Liverpool. And I was like, fuck, the guy knows something clearly. And there was no good news regarding what was going on. But now, having heard the David Ornstein news, and I do kind of hear what you said just at the beginning of this stream, where you think that this might be the first signal, rather than just saying they're not getting in. This is more a signal to sort of ease the pain. I kind of understand that, and I do think that actually might be true. So I think I'm somewhere, maybe not quite as high as a 7.6, but I'm certainly pretty high now. I think I'm maybe at like a 6.8. I think I'm at like a 6.8, and there's quite a lot of people in the chat who are around like, there's very few people below 5. I see Benno there with a 4.5. Ibrahim's on a 0, man. Ibrahim's like, oh nah, no confidence at all.
Well, put it this way: if you're putting in a 5 and you're saying you're a 5 out of 10, that means you think there's a 50% chance of the transfer happening. I like, just off the news we have, there's definitely more than a 50% chance of it happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. It's going to be an interesting one. Big up Anthony again for another super chat here. He says, have you heard more about Erling Haaland? Yes, actually, we have, and it's sounding a lot better than when we did the stream yesterday in the morning. It now seems more like a precautionary situation. The fact that we're not actually sure whether he's coming straight home to Manchester to see the City medical staff, he might be going to his house in Marbella, suggests to me that it can't be that serious if he's not had to come straight home to Manchester. If he's allowed to go to Marbella and avoid the Manchester City doctors, I would suggest that it's really not that bad. Because if it was anything semi-serious, I think City would have said, come on, we need to get your scans. We need to do the scans. We need to have a look at what's going on. We need to understand, what's happening so that Pep Guardiola can prepare for the games that are coming up after this international break. So I think that it's looking good. And I put it at sort of like a 90% chance that Erling Haaland will be available for that Liverpool game. Really would. Let's have a look at an interesting comment in the chat there from Boller. Says, so as a Liverpool fan, it would kill me if he went to City. I would rather him go to Madrid. I mean, I can flip that around and say the same thing. I don't want him to go to Liverpool. I would rather him go to Madrid as well. But the thing is, like I say, with Liverpool, do they have 125 million to spend on one player? They might do, but that means it's unlikely in that scenario that Liverpool would be able to sign other players based on the historic spending of the football club. Liverpool are not a team that massively spends. I mean, they do spend money on big players, don't get me wrong, but they don't. It's very rare that they go out and spend like 200, 300 million in one transfer window. So, yeah, interesting. It's interesting, man. It's certainly interesting. Buzzing. Anything else that you want to say on Bellingham, bro? McAllister, anything else before we wrap up?
No, I think just hold tight. Just keep your eyes peeled for the news, because I'm like I said, I'm very, very confident on the Jude Bellingham one. I think it's all falling into place nicely, and I think we'll know about the conclusion of this deal before the end of the season. And just on the Haaland one as well. I hate to be cynical, but it just reeks a little bit. The guy needed a bit of a holiday, so it's all looking good in the world of Manchester City.
Indeed, it is. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed the stream, man. Make sure you guys drop a like on the stream. Subscribe to the channel, man. Get us to 75,000 subscribers. We'll be back 2 p.m. See you later. Have a great day. Bye.